Welcome back to another 734 FSE video. Today we're tackling the job of working on an 03 GSXR 600, and we're going to swap out the stator on this bike because after 10-15 minutes of riding the bike just dies. So we're going to swap out a stator today, and we're going to take you guys along through that process. And don't forget to subscribe to follow along to all the adventures we get up to. So our first step on this job is to take off the left side of the fairing of the bike. We're going to do that with a 4mm Allen head. So I'm going to go ahead, pop out all these bolts that are holding the fairing on so we can get to the stator cover. So now that I have all the 4mm bolts out and the one 10mm bolt holding this fairing on, underneath the bike on the bottom side of the fairing there are 3 little like snap pins. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop those out real quick, and then after that our fairing should just slide on out for us. Now that all the bolts and screws are removed, we should be able to slide on our fairing, slide off our fairing. So now that our fairing is removed, we have access to the stator cover. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove all of these 5mm stator cover bolts. And when I remove this cover, there is oil in this case. So I have a little oil pan right here that we're gonna go ahead and let the oil drain on out to. And then this will give us access to our stator. Give it. So the magnet is holding this case cover on, so I'm gonna go ahead, grab my pry bar and try and get some leverage and pop it free from this tab up here. So now we have the stator case off, and I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the mating surface on the engine side of the case and get the rest of that gasket off. There we go. So we came to the conclusion that since this bike hasn't ran in a while, because it was having these stator issues with the bike dying, that normally if your bike has been ridden and it's up to temp, you will have oil inside this case. But since the bike has sat, all the oil has drained back down into the oil pan cavity and is chilling all on the other side of the motor. We can peek through these holes down here and see the oil. So I was expecting oil to come out. Literally had a couple drops, so not that big of a deal for us. I grabbed the new gasket just to double check that it fits right for us. And she fits like a glove. Our other dowel pin chilling right there. So now I'm gonna double check that our stator, new stator, is the same. I see no difference. This square runs around the back side. This direction. Boom. That will be good. So with our stator cover removed, we're going to go ahead and pop out the 3 bolts holding the stator in, and then the one that holds our wire down in place. And once we get these out, the stator will be able to pop on out of this case. And boom, the old stator is out. So now that we have the new stator installed on the cover, we'll go ahead and place the gasket on here and then try and keep everything lined up. Ow, with my fingers. So with the stator cover installed, we'll go ahead and make our connection to the bike side of the harness. So now that I moved the coolant reservoir, made my life a little easier. So with our connector plugged together, I'm gonna go ahead and put in all the bolts on this stator cover. We're not going to run them down all the way, just give them kind of seated, and then we will tighten in a star pattern. So with everything installed, tightened back up, it's time to throw our outer fairing back on. We'll go ahead, get this into place real quick. Kind of just hold it there. Plug up our light. So now we're going to go through one by one, putting these bolts back in. And last but not least, we're going to reinstall these little snap clips. So now that we have our left side fairing back on the bike, we are wrapping up this project. We have one thing left to do, and that's to fire the bike up and make sure she runs, and then I'm gonna go ahead and buzz this thing around the block, go for a 10-15 minute ride, make sure this bike isn't dying anymore, and if everything checks out, we're all good, the bike doesn't die. That wraps up the Stator install on a 2003 GSXR 600. Now that we've taken this bike around the block and it runs flawlessly, the bike hasn't died on me, which is great. I'm gonna go ahead and sign out for this video. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Maybe you learned something. Don't forget to subscribe to stay tuned for anything we have going on in the future, and give this video a like if it helped you out at all.